Are we live? It's okay.
All right.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna write Sam Ovens. I'm gonna tell him like, look, yo, like this delay whenever I click record, it takes like 3-4 seconds to, click in. So fix that. But
Unacceptable. We pay good money for this.
that is terrible. There's have like a countdown thing, So
That's
it's
a good
like
idea.
you're live in 3, 2, 1, boop, and
A little like click.
yeah, that'd be cool. But anyway, welcome to Codex Virilis. If you just finished watching the roundtable and we're dressed exactly the same, it's because we finished it like 5 minutes ago. It's like complete transparency.
We're playing catch up for last week. It was my fault.
Yeah, he was. Well, where were you in Spartan race?
Sorry, real quick. It's just...
Those are his medals. That's why he abandoned our calls and completely flaked on us because he wanted that piece of metal.
And the physical injuries that came with it.
But good on you. You did the Spartan race.
Yes.
You have another race planned, by the way?
Goodness, no. Race to sleep.
So we went into Codex Virilis, meaning, like, what was it? Manuscript?
Basically, men's book. It's a sacred men's books, kind of.
That's right. So it's
Codex is just a book, and Virilis is men's or order of men. So
and that's Latin.
Yes.
And we're focusing on which book? The Psychology of Money.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right there on the screen. The Psychology of Money. For those who have read it, it's a pretty good book so far, right?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
We've read chapters 1, 2. We talked about that in the last session. We decided to put the pedal to the metal a little bit more and go from do 5 chapters instead of 2 chapters, 5 chapters a week. And we could do more actually, but I think 5 is enough. So we went from chapter 3 to chapter 7, and we're just gonna really briefly go over it, or a quick summary of what each chapter was about and our general take and thoughts. Sound good, B?
Sounds good. Funny enough, I was gonna say we were doing 2, maybe 3 chapters, but we skipped last week, so it's pretty much like we've still been doing 2 or 3 chapters, and we didn't skip last week, so we're back at par.
we just can't get all because of your medal.
All right.
But all right, so starting with chapter 3, titled "Never Enough," and talking about people chasing wealth endlessly, never satisfied. Comparing yourself to richer people ruins peace of mind. Real wealth is knowing when you have enough. What do you think? I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, but I have this sense that you're gonna argue against some point here.
Good sense. No, actually, I really liked the 3rd chapter. It's very true that, well, we were talking about before, and I forget what it's called. It's some kind of a something or other, but it's basically when you get close to your goal and your goal moves further down. As I was listening to this while training for the Spartan race, it just really hit home, because one of the things it said is like, hey, imagine running a race, and then right when you get close to the end, the goal moves, and then you have to run even further. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's horrible. Please don't let that happen.
With like blisters on your feet.
Yeah. So I think it's very true. You have to know when enough is enough, and I think a lot of people don't. We naturally have an inclination of wanting more and more and more, And I know for myself, younger me would look at current me and be like, "Oh man, like you're doing really well for yourself. You've got a family, you're financially stable, you're so much further ahead, and I would love to be there because I feel like I would really be where I'd want to be."
That's
But
funny. 'Cause younger me would look at me today and be like, "You're still alive?"
this guy up. I mean, the younger you would be proud then. Yeah, cool.
It's like, wow, huh? He made it. It's like
I'm tougher than I thought. I need to be more dangerous. But no, I like I said, um it really did say a lot of our view on when enough is enough, right? Like in this chapter, he was talking about there was wealthy people who came from nothing to being super super rich, and they bet it all on stupid things only to lose it all and go right back to square one. And then they look back and they're like, man, that was dumb. Like I'd made it. There will always be somebody doing better than you, but you need to know that you're doing well for where you're at. Hopefully,
Yeah,
everybody's
fingers
different.
crossed.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, I was asking a lot of people that I know after this chapter, like, what do you think is enough? And it was interesting because everybody gave me a slightly different answer, which makes sense because everybody has different ideas of what they really want out of life. But very few people were telling me that they wanted to be, to have 10, 20, 30 million dollars in the bank and have a nice car and do this. And most of them were telling me things like, I just wish that I had a home that I owned, maybe some land, a happy family, and the ability to just kind of enjoy my days and to do what I want to do, which we'll talk later on because they talk about that in another chapter. Um, but
But
but yeah,
how do you, for highly ambitious people, it kind of sounds like conformity, hence like mediocrity. Like,
yeah.
so, like, if you have and this again, I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here, but if you have to know when enough is enough, isn't it just kind of like you're not dreaming big enough? Like if when they ask you like if you could have anything you want, I mean, you have like a wish to have anything you want, and people are like, "Well, I want a new car." Yeah, think big. I want a jet. I want like I don't know. I want to own half of the planet. I don't know, whatever. But like
Rule the world,
like think big. So you're kind of like squashing that by saying I have to know that this is enough, and then you just kind of like kill your ambition, right?
I mean, this gets to, and we're gonna dive too deep into this, but ambition versus greed, right? Like you can have high ambition, but at what point does it cross over into just straight greed? Um, I think it's a very healthy thing to say, to be modest, to say, look, man, if I, like me personally, if my enough, which I would be interested in what your enough is, but my idea of enough is to have enough money in the bank invested so that I'm having a good, consistent growth with passive income enough to pay my bills and continue to allow trickle over so that I can continue to compound and grow, and to just have a house that I own, some property, like maybe 10 acres of land, and my family, right? Happy, health, many kids. If I had those, I'd say that's enough for me. But what would you say is your enough?
My enough off the top of my head right now would probably be having the capacity, be it physical, financial, emotional, what have you, to help lift my children to a higher level than me. I feel, in hindsight, I feel kind of like both you and me, we are like better off than like our father was. Like at least like what we saw growing up, it wasn't like we were living in like a crack house or anything, but he did the best he could, but he
It's
struggled.
next to it.
Don't you mess with Mario. but he did the best he could, and we had toys, we had everything, but if I see our lives the way they are right now, compared to like his life and how he worked hard and everything, I would say we're like a step further than he was. And so
Yeah.
my enough would be having the capacity and living long enough to help my son reach the next level that's higher than me. And that way their children, my grandchildren, will be at the following level. And little by little, I'm if I can ever reach millions, that'd be awesome. But if I can just simply get my son to be a little bit have a little bit of a better life than I have, the same way I have a little bit of a better life than my father had, that would be enough for me. Right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's a good point. Um, Still a little, I it's not very definitive, right? Like at what point is the next level and all that. Stopping here real quick. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, join the Order of Pillars. We do these videos every week live in our community. We actively seek our members to join in, to give us their perspectives. And what we are aiming to do in the community is to be around like minded men who want to advance in all areas of their life. Like you said very well, if you have kids or seek to have kids later, to leave them in a better position and in a better world through this community. One of the pillars is finance in the Order of Pillars. And as we dive more into it, there are plenty of ways to set your children up as early as possible so that they will be just leaps and bounds ahead of where you were, wherever you were starting out at. That's actually the next chapter, and I think that's a good transition to compounding.
Confounding, compounding. Try saying that 3 times fast.
Yeah, right.
Compounding works like magic, but only with time and patience. Small gains sustained for decades beat big wins followed by losses. Example: Warren Buffett's fortune came mostly after age 60. Now, I would say that's kind of a fluke. Yes, I think kind of an outlier, I would say. But I don't know what I agree. Obviously, I agree with compounding. My question that comes to mind is, what would you say to like the 55-year-old? It's like, well, I don't know how much I can. I
You're
can't
screwed.
what can I compound at this time of my life? But is it possible to still do something when you're 50, 55?
Yeah, no, it's 100% possible. Unfortunately, the window is narrowing quickly. At 50, assuming you've never done anything with regards to finance or things like that. Is the possibility there? Yeah, 100%. You still can get ahead, but the amount of effort that it takes is going to be much, much more. That's why I tell people as early as possible to start investing and start saving. So, in the order of pillars, what we aim to do, the very first thing you want to do is have a budget. Once you have a budget and you start living in your budget, then you're able to start either paying down debt or start saving and eventually put it into an investing area. Um, and the sooner you get to do that, the more your money starts working for you. So that's one of the things that Warren Buffett, as it says in this book, he started off at the age of about 10 buying his first stock, and he was very savvy with his investing. Um, if anybody doesn't know who Warren Buffett is, they call him the Oracle of Omaha. He's a super well-known investor who is majority shareholder. I believe, I'm almost positive he's majority shareholder in many different companies, such as Coca-Cola. And if you ever see a video of him, he's typically always sitting there sipping his Coca-Cola because I guess he's shamelessly plugging the thing that he owns. but um but yeah, it's the compounding effect, something that we have a difficulty understanding just how powerful it is. So, going back to what you were saying about your kids and wanting to put them into a better life, most people don't think, oh, okay, I have a newborn or a 1 year old or a 5 year old, whatever have you. They're very focused on, okay, well, I need to put away for savings and for my investment and for doing this and for doing that. There are accounts out there that you can start putting away for your children. And even if it's just a savings account, right? Savings, a high yield savings account, and it's specifically for your kids. Put money into that, $10, right? $10 a month. It's not much, but it'll slowly build up. And then at a certain point, you predetermine whatever the heck point you want that to be. Then you can actually flip that and put portions of it into investing. So imagine, this is something that I think about all the time. Like you and me, imagine if we were 15 years old and we had started saving and investing and stuff, assuming we weren't just complete degenerates and didn't bet it all on black.
Women?
Which, yeah, right. Whatever your weakness is, right? No.
Tasty.
But imagine the life that you would have now because you had started so long ago versus if you're starting now and you look forward and you think of how much of a freaking uphill battle it is because of all the responsibilities you have.
I think that's easy to say now, looking back. But
Yeah.
at the time, 15, 20 even, you want to have fun. Your friends, Warren Buffett's like an anomaly. He started investing like at 10 years old.
No, he's a freak for sure.
Like, nobody does that,
Yeah.
So
But this is where us as parents, this is where we are so vital. Yeah, your kid wants to have fun. Your kid doesn't understand any of this stuff. But you as a parent should go, okay, I know my life now and how hard it is. And if I would have started back here, it would have been so much better. Start for your kids as early as possible. Like imagine if you were to have a child and, every year for their birthday, starting at age 1, you put $100 aside for their gift and you buy them something, whatever have you. that will slowly start building up to the point to where they become 10, 15, 20 years old, and again, if you're ever given that blessing to have a place where your kids are living with you and maybe paying some rent or doing something along those lines, and you take that and they think that they're just paying rent, but instead you're putting it into a savings account or an investing account. And then the day comes where they are ready to move out, go to college, whatever have you. And then you go, look, for years you've been doing chores, you've been doing these little tasks for me, you've been paying rent and helping out with all that stuff. I've actually been saving it for you. So here is a nice, $30,000 chunk of money for you to start your life with. Like that would get any of us so far ahead. Of course, you would have to give them the right mentality along with it, because if you were to give us at 20 years
I'm
old,
going to the strip club.
you see, that's we could have bought the strip club, but it's the
This is coming
mentality.
right after the round table, which was about Christianity and spirituality.
This is when we were less godly.
We were heathens.
but yeah, I mean, like I said, that's what we need to be focusing on, right? Our kids, what we can do for them now, and like I said, even now, right? Like it makes me think of the thing on an airplane, like the instructions that they give you in the event of an emergency. You put mask on yourself before you put it on your children. Like if you're struggling and are in debt and doing all this, like bro, don't be putting aside $100 a week for your children and then you're 5, 10, 15, $20,000 in debt. Like, no, you're being dumb. Focus on getting yourself out first, then focus on your children. But all this is stuff that we will be diving further into in the community and helping each member get a better understanding of mentality, of budgeting, of investing, of different avenues of investing, be it crypto or stocks or real estate. Shout out, by the way, to one of the community members. At 24 years old, he purchased a duplex. So he just,
Alex?
yep, Alex.
Yep, Alex. Woohoo, Alex!
Where's,
Confetti for Alex. Where's this thing? It's right here. There we go. Woo, Alex!
yeah, 24 years old, right? Like awesome on you, bro. This guy served in the military. He got out. He saved up his money. He works very hard and he purchased a duplex. And instead of thinking, well, I'm just going to buy a house, he's already trying to think long term and think, okay, if I get a duplex, I can rent out one, I can live in the other. I get a roommate on my side, paying down the mortgage portion of it. A few years down the line, I can move out, purchase another duplex or triplex or quadplex, whatever. And then, God willing, by the end of 35 or so, the guy should have a handful of rental properties and he will be way better off than we are, I'm sure.
and you can thank the Order of Pillars for that.
Yeah, right.
I'm playing. That was all him. We didn't do anything, but we can help you get there if you join.
If that's what you want to do. Real estate isn't for everybody, of course.
Exactly. Now, chapter 5, getting wealthy and staying wealthy. We mentioned, investing, compounding, making that bag. But getting rich takes optimism and risk. Staying rich takes humility and caution. Survival matters more than high returns. And don't bet everything. Avoid ruin. Always keep margin for error. So how important do you think that is? Staying wealthy. Do you think that's like a prevalent thing among people who make millions? Like, you think a lot of them go broke after a little while?
I believe the saying is by the third generation, wealth is gone. So typically you have somebody who was poor, had struggled, they worked really hard, they found the right combination and they succeeded. Their children got a slight glimpse of how that business was started and the work that they put into it. But they don't fully understand and they want to spend daddy's money. And then by the third generation, um, if there's any money left over, they're too far detached from the hard work put into it. So they just completely blow it all, and their children are poor. So,
Yeah. So be like Shaq. Don't give your children any money.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like Shaquille O'Neal. Like I think he was getting some heat some time ago because he said, "Yeah, this is my money, and I'm not giving you guys anything." And I'm sure he like helps his kids a little bit. It's not, but he's. I think he said something like that. He's not going to leave them like millions of dollars in inheritance or anything like that. No, that's his money. They need to work for their own money, and he got a lot of heat for that. I think it's the right way to go.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I don't know if it was Shaq. Somebody had said something along the lines of their kids came up to them and they were like, "Oh, well, we have all this money," and they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! What do you mean we? Like I have all this money. You don't have any money."
and it's kind of like it's because of what Hormozy was saying in that video I sent you, like that you have to build the skills
Yeah.
in order to make that money. So you're able to make that money, no matter whatever amount of money that may be, could be millions, or it could just be a few hundred thousands, just a few hundred thousand, as if I had that.
Yeah, right.
And just a few hundred thousand.
Yeah,
And, and so it could be like whatever amount of money it may be, but you got that because you learned, you busted your butt, you have life skills, you have business skills, you went through trial and error, and your kids or whoever else, they haven't acquired those skills in order to get that money. So once they get the money, it's gone because they haven't accumulated those skills in order to continue compounding that money. Like maybe Trump has those skills, and I would bet that he's been training Trump Jr. for quite a few years to also have those skills. And so maybe he can like continue the legacy because he's been acquiring the skills. But if you're like, I don't know, Hunter Biden, I don't want to make this political, but if you're like Hunter Biden, just gonna snort it all up. So so it's you have to acquire the skills in order to make the money. And so yeah, it's your own money. Your own money. Help your kids out. We
well,
just
like you
we,
said,
we
uh,
just got done finished saying like, put some money aside for your children
yeah.
and compounding but now it's all your money though.
um, but in this chapter, he says that getting wealthy and staying wealthy are two separate mindsets, right? So to get wealthy requires a certain amount of risk taking and a certain amount of hard work and just luck, really, a certain amount of it. Staying wealthy now requires you to be paranoid and fearful of losing that money, um, which again would naturally not be present in your children if they've never had the hard work of making that money. They just think money comes from the sky, which I mean, I guess technically the government just prints money, so it's not really fake, anyways. But whatever.
Getting back into politics.
Yeah. But it is a very interesting dynamic of the mindset needed to get wealthy, and then once you start having money, and not that I have a ton of money, but I've always had a certain amount of fear of being without. The way we were raised, like you said, we struggled, we came up, you know, in a very challenging environment, still blessed in a lot of ways. But from that, I've always had a certain level of I don't want to be without. So I've always put money aside, saved, tried to learn. Um, and honestly, it's hurt me on some levels. I could be much further ahead right now if I had more of a risk taking mentality in the beginning, because I was able to, well, as Hermosi put it very well at the end of that video, imagine you have a dice and there's some red and there's some green, and you can roll that dice. The longer you roll that dice, the more odds are that you will eventually hit greens. So everybody's going to hit those reds. Right? Reds is you losing money, is you missing out, whatever have you. But you keep rolling that dice. If you're afraid to roll that dice, you're definitely not going to get any greens. So, and if hopefully you get a green or two, you don't want to roll that dice and hit that red, because now you're going to lose it. So it's just an interesting dichotomy of how you have to think. My question when I was thinking about this and listening to this is, at what point does that flip over? Right? Like, wealthy is a subjective thing. So, like you said, maybe a couple $100,000. Not that we have that, but
That'd be
I
awesome.
mean, yeah, right. If I had a few $100,000, bro, I'm wealthy.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, if you haven't joined the community, join the community.
But what's your take on, when do you switch over from having a getting wealth mindset to a staying wealth mindset?
Well, since I'm not wealthy,
I wouldn't know.
it's hard to say, but I would assume it has to do with age as well. So when you're in your 20s, 30s, maybe even 40s, I think a lot of people correlate wealth with money, cars, houses, material things. Once you're late 50s, 60s, 70s, wealth is having health. First of all, wealth is having healthy children, a healthy family. Wealth is living to be 75, 80. That's wealth. I would assume. I mean, I don't know for sure, but once I get to that stage in my life, knock on wood, um, I would take that as wealth. I at that age, assuming I have money. I might not even have money, so I wouldn't know. But assuming I have money at that age, let's say I have $500,000 in compound interest, whatever, blah 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 blah. At that age, I don't think I'm going to care about the money. I'm going to care more about my family's healthy. I'm still alive to enjoy my grandkids. We're stable. That's what's going to be wealth for me at that point.
Okay. Yeah. I know it's like, I feel that it is a subjective thing, and anybody watching this, ask yourself, what the first question, right? When is it enough? And then at that point, when do you personally feel that you would switch the mindset of, I need to take some bigger risks, to now I need to really pull back and get paranoid? So,
Exactly. And that goes to chapter 6. It is tails, you win. And I kind of feel I already feel pushback from you here. I could be wrong. I may be off the marker here, but knowing you how I know you. The tails you win, chapter 6. Most success. I'm gonna reiterate this again. Most success comes from a few rare lucky events. So tail events. Failure is common and necessary. The few wins make the difference. Don't quit too early or judge success by short-term results. So I feel like maybe you might, and I could be off, but on the first point, that most success comes from a few rare lucky events. You don't think that's kind of counterintuitive to a couple chapters ago about compounding?
Yeah, no, and that's what funny you say that. That's exactly what I was thinking about when I was reading this. I was like, I mean, you're kind of contradicting yourself. So you can't possibly say that a few big events might not make big changes. So in the book, he talks about stocks, and of these certain stocks, a very small percentage of them actually are profitable. And of those small percentage, it's only an even tinier amount that really make the biggest gains for the entire market. He also uses another story of an art collector. What was he, like a teacher or something?
I
Forget.
don't remember. I'm like on chapter 11 right now, so I don't
This
know.
dude was something like a teacher. He was nothing special. No offense to any teachers out there. But he started collecting art, and at a certain point, he got to sell something like $100 million of art to the German government, and that is a huge win, right? A couple like $100 million, bro. It's not chump change. But turns out his collection was actually worth in the billions of dollars. And a lot of his art wasn't very valuable, but he had a few, Van Goghs, some Motis, he had some Picassos. Those ones were the ones that valued the most. And you have to go through the not so profitable ones in order to get to the really big ones. So I don't disagree on that front. The part I disagree on is like if you're shooting for these rare wins, a lot of people I think bet heavy not knowing whether it's a win or not versus if you're equally conservative and knowing, look, some of these may hit big, but that's a very tiny amount of my total worth. So, I mean, one thing that I think about, I am a crypto investor, and there are certain cryptos out there that are very valuable. So, you have a certain amount of money that you want to put into your reliable returns. And then you have certain percentages as you go down the higher risk coins. And sure, put 1 or 2% into a random coin that just came out the other day, or if you can use the same for stocks, I don't really care. Sure, it may hit big, but odds are it's not. The problem is a lot of these people say, okay, instead of me putting 60, 70, 80% into some of these more reliable stocks or coins, they're going all in on flipping Pepe or, some stupid meme stock. And they're just like, no, man, like if this hits $1, bro, I'll be a billionaire. It's like, yeah, but it won't. Like it won't. So they lose it all, and then at the end of the day they go, oh bro, like I could have, yeah, I guess you could have, but you shouldn't rely on any big wins. In fact, I would say it's better for you to think, look, I'm never going to hit it big, so I need to be smart and conservative in my money, right? Put a certain amount away for survival, as he says in the book, right? You got to survive before you thrive. Put a certain amount, which again, we go over in the order of pillars. You want to have a budget. You want to start putting away 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. At that point, you can start diving deeper into investings and all that. But even in that, you want to be conservative with some of your stuff, and then a very tiny bit, it's your lottos, right? You might hit it. Odds are you won't. But I mean, like I said, it seemed very silly to me for him to say like, well, there's only a couple things that are really gonna make it big for you. It's like, I mean, yeah, I guess, but
Oh, but then it goes back to the Alex Hormozy analogy of the dice.
yeah,
You know, those couple wins are when it hits the green side, but
yeah,
you have to keep rolling. Just have to
yeah,
keep rolling the dice. You know.
yeah, and but I just kind of go back to you just can't place it all on that on hoping to hit that. Like, say if you have $5, right? Or no, $20. Let's do $20. You have $20 and it's $5 per roll on your dice. Or you can bet 50 cents per roll and you get a lot more rolls. Like, sure, go smaller on your risk. But if you're like, oh bro, like, yeah, if I hit green and I put the full $20 on it, then I'll get a couple hundred. Like, yeah, but there's one green and there's like six reds. So I mean, you're probably not. You're probably gonna lose it.
Exactly. Be smart about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, be smart. And chapter aside, the last chapter here, and this one hit home for me. I particularly like this chapter quite a bit. Is freedom, because I'm not free. So the highest form of wealth is control over your time. Money matters most when it buys you independence. Being able to say no is the real luxury. So that first point, the highest form of wealth is control over your time. Would you say you have a lot of control over your time?
I am blessed in my current situation that yes, I've worked really hard in my life and in my career currently, and my current situation is that I have a lot of flexibility, a lot of opportunity to say I may need to get into work, but I can hold it off. Right? Now, obviously, there's times where it's like, "Nah, doesn't matter. You got to drop everything you're doing and get into work. But the ability to wake up in the morning, this chapter I really liked because it like you said, it really hit home. You can have all the money you want, and a story in that, which I don't know how you feel. This entire book is basically just him telling us stories, but
I-
whatever.
okay. There are a few stories.
It's like every flipping chapter, there's like two or three stories. But in this chapter, he talks about a guy going to work in what he believes is an ideal job. It's like dealing with money or something, investing. I don't know, but he had to do it all the time, and it was on a very strict schedule. And he eventually realized even doing what you love on a schedule that's so demanding that you don't get to do anything outside of that is really no better than you doing something that you despise. So I totally felt that because I've experienced that in my life and what I'm experiencing currently. Um, that yeah, at the end of the day, what we're seeking is freedom, and money is time that you're harnessing into this asset. So if you have a certain amount of money, you're literally paying other people so that you can buy back your own time. You don't want to wash your car, you don't want to clean your own house, you don't want to, whatever, run your own business. Okay, hire somebody else to do that and you're buying your personal time back to do something else that you'd want to do. So again, I think it gets down to you saving, you investing, and you getting to the point where you have given enough of your own time, but converted it into this tangible substance that you're building up your own time to enjoy some of it later. If that makes sense.
Yeah, as long as that doesn't happen at like 85. And like
Yeah,
you
right. Enjoy
die
the
at
last few
86.
minutes.
Yes, freedom. But but no, I think ultimately that's when you strip everything else away. That's actually what we're looking for. We're looking for independence. We're looking for having time. Because yeah, like the book says, is what's the point of having all this money if you're working 18 hours a day and you're not doing anything except making more money? And Alex Hormozy said, as you guys can tell, we listen to Alex Hormozy a lot. Shout out Alex. But
Sponsor
but
us.
but but he says, it's about enjoying the game. This is a game. And you have to like enjoy the game. It's not about fixating on winning the game. Winning is playing the game. That's what winning is. But by that logic, then it's just like work all the time, and you don't really do anything else because you love it. But even though you love it, it's just consuming your life, And for those of us who have families, sorry, Alex, but it'll happen eventually. but for those of us who have families, the priority usually is not money, money, money all the time. It's kids. It's spending time with the family. It's providing stability, but that stability is also being present, in the lives of your family members. So, I think it's ultimately that's going back to the previous question. What is wealth? Well, that's wealth. Wealth is having time without starving, because you can have all the time in the world, but then live on the street and not have any food. But having time while sufficing your necessities, that would probably be the pinnacle of wealth. That's independent. That's financial independence right there. Now, yeah, I'm already on chapter 11, but I have to reread them because I forgot. so I forgot everything, so I have to reread them. So for next time, we would be reading, or we'd be going over chapter 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, right? These from 8 to 12. If you guys haven't join the community. You can find a post in the community feed where you can join along. There's a free PDF. I hope they don't sue us for this. I don't know if it's legal, but but there's a free PDF of the psychology of money there, so you don't have to buy the book. You don't have to spend money on it. You can find it in the community and read along and give your 2 cents. Join in on one of these calls. Give your 2 cents. We'll talk about the book. As you can see, we joke about it. We kind of go off on tangents and talk about personal experiences. It's fun. It's just hanging out, but improving with knowledge. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't, but it's just having fun. Any last words, Lilby?
I did want to also add in, if you join the community and you want to read along, even if you don't join the community and you just want to partake, you happen to be stumbling upon this video, again, like, comment, subscribe. It really helps us. You can find the audiobook for this on YouTube. So by all means, go ahead and listen to the book. If you don't have time to read the book or whatever have you, listen along. We would love to have you partake. Give us your 2 cents. Tell us where we misunderstand, or we can just help each other progress along. Quick other note: did you know that there was I assume it's still Morgan Housel, but there is like a psychology of spending money.
I think I heard something about that, but I don't remember if I read that he had already written it or that he was planning on writing it. I don't
I'm like
remember.
99% sure it's already written and out. Um, but anyways, for anybody who's watching this in the community or not, once we finish with this one, we will be touching on other subjects as well. It's not always going to be financial. This one, funny enough, it's both psychology and finance, which I think is an interesting start. But we will be talking on all different kinds of books, fiction, nonfiction. We could talk about, philosophy, theology. I don't think we will ever get into like a science textbook or something. Today we're reading, biology 101.
By Bill Nye.
Yeah, right. Talk
But
about information.
yeah. Bill Nye, the political guy. But we will probably like get into politics because that keeps resurfacing here and there. So, but yeah, guys, join. And the whole idea is to have fun. We're just having fun. We're spitting ideas, and some of them are silly, some of them are not. It makes you think, and it helps you be better. All right, so we will see you guys in the next Codex Virilis, where we're going to be diving into the next 5 chapters of this book and see what craziness it says then. All right, so peace.